Hi! So when building a WordPress website for a business, normally some form or another, we will have to include either a contact form or an inquiry form. Many sites require more than one form. Like for example, some will require a form for people who want to submit their what we call CVs to apply for a position in the company. And other forms include things like a telehealth intake form or a medical assessment kind of form. But you see, many page builders these days, like Elementor, like Cadence, they have their own form functionality within their blocks, within their widgets that they provide for page building. But I tend to stay away from those, and I am leaning more towards a dedicated form plugin. Why? Because first of all, I feel that forms are more of a functionality thing rather than a aesthetic kind of thing. And if you build a form with, let's say, Elementor's form functionality, the thing is, if one day you decide to change the page builder, one day if you decide to stop using Elementor and transit to the Gutenberg editor, then you have to redesign the form. And sometimes it's not just about the design, but what goes on after the person submits the form. And with dedicated form builders like the one I'm currently using for most of my projects, which is Fluent Forms, you are able to retain that functionality. That's for example, if someone submits a form, the details of the submission will be submitted to a particular email address. Or if you're using the Pro version, this can also mean that you can integrate with third-party applications. So in the case which I was mentioning earlier, if you suddenly decide that you want to switch from Elementor to the Gutenberg page builder, then you have to rebuild all these forms, and that is not ideal. The other thing why I always use a dedicated form builder from the onset, even though the forms might be very simple inquiry forms, is that you do not know what new forms the business or the website might need down the line. So for example, today you might just need an inquiry form, but let's say 3 or 4 months down the road, if that particular business requires a medical intake form, and if the customer would prefer a conversational style of form, then you're stuck because the Elementor page builder doesn't have the kind of forms, doesn't have the conversational style. So a dedicated form builder usually has better options, it has better integrations with third-party services, and it also usually have a better API if you want to create your own functionality to be able to extract, for example, the form submissions and then submit to your own third-party service. And that is why I always lean towards using a dedicated form plugin instead of using a page builder's plugin. With that, you are able to take in your site can then be able to take on changes from the business requirements for a longer period of time, and that I think is what is important when you are planning for a site for a business. Hope that helps. I'll see you tomorrow.